The reason I put this presentation together for Windows 10 is not only is it being phased in at work, and so everybody's beginning to learn it considerably, it's every time you replace a computer now, almost everybody is going to get Windows 10 on it. And I have to flip back and forth between an Apple and a PC. And so there were some things that I felt like were really neat, which are the features, and yet there's some stuff that are really annoying to me. And so I thought other people might like to hear about that also. It's going to be hard for you to keep up with all the clicks that I'm going to talk about. So I have given a handout, and in addition to the PowerPoint presentation that will be where you can download them. And the handout has all of the clicks, right click here, do this, spelled out in the handout to match the slides. And you will notice that all my slides have a number on them. As I said, that this is my own personal list of features that I like and annoyances. There are considerably more features and considerably more things that could be annoying to everybody else. So this is just my own personal one. To me, one of the features is it's overall much more reliable. I can crash any operating system. I've only managed to crash Windows 10 once, and I'm not even sure what caused it. The updates are also coming a lot less often, and the security seems to be considerably improved. And so I really am even contemplating not bringing up, when I lose my Apple laptop, I may go just strictly to Windows 10. That's how much more reliable it is. It has a very nice clean interface. If you will notice that the background, if you don't have anything on there, you can get it down to this real nice looking background. I have the habit of putting task icons at the bottom, and we'll talk about that in a little bit later, so you can even go without those. First thing we're going to talk about, when you click the Windows key, which is down on the bottom left usually of the keyboard, or the Windows logo, or down here on the bottom left where you see the Windows logo, they've added back the start menu. If some of you went to Windows 8, that start menu was missing and it was hard to find, so they put it back. A lot of people like me are dependent on being able to get in and change settings and being able to find things. But if you had Windows 8, you will also see that the tiles that they had are visible here. And we're going to talk about the terminology to get these tiles on the desktop. The first thing I want you to notice when you do click on that Windows key down in the bottom left, it will bring up this area at the top that's labeled Most Used. Now, when I did this for the PC users group, several people went, I hadn't even paid attention to that. So it's something that's relatively new, and it will put the most used things. As you can see that this is my work laptop, so I have to go and go into using a terminal emulator into Unix systems all the time and do PowerPoint printouts, comparison of files. So it's put my most used applications here on the left. Also, when you click get that panel up, you will see the File Explorer, Settings, your Power button, which also lets you put it in standby mode, or power it off, and then All Apps. So next we're going to click on All Apps. And All Apps is going to bring up this huge list of everything that's installed on your machine. And at first, that's kind of intimidating. There is a scroll bar, so you can scroll up and down the list, but that's still very, very inconvenient. So we're going to talk about a way to get around that in a few minutes. If the applications are pinned to start, that phrase, pinned to start, causes these tiles to appear on your desktop. So if you're pinning something to the start, it's not pinning it to the menu, it's pinning it to making a tile out of it so that you can get to it easily with a big button. So if you have an application in the list here and I right-click it. There's a choice here to pin to start, or if it is in the taskbar, for instance, I can unpin it. So if it had been pinned to the tile, it would say pin to start. It would say pin, unpin from start. And then you can share the link and various other things. I clicked on one of the tiles because I wanted to point out that you can click on not only an application in the list, but a tile, or you can right-click on the taskbar down at the bottom if you have something pinned to the taskbar and get the same menu. Now note that these menus are context dependent, and therefore the choices that you come up with will be dependent. For instance, I right-clicked on one note and it says new quick note, or take a screen clipping. So you're going to see various different things when you do a right-click because it's context dependent. Whoops. So now I can still pin to the taskbar, and that will give you all the little icons of something that you click on frequently. Other people are going to like using those big tiles in the middle of your button, middle of your menu there. If you want to look at the taskbar and change any of its properties, right-click on it about right here. Just as long as you don't get on top of one of the icons, you can right-click, and it will bring up this taskbar and start menu properties. And that's where you can lock it. You can auto-hide it, which is what I've got right now since I've got this presentation up. And you can use small taskbar buttons. You can also move it to the right or the left and take the labels off so you just see the little icons. So that's how you customize a taskbar. Now, adding to the desktop, as I said, with the click on a application, pin to start, and then or pin to the taskbar, and the taskbar will go down here. So the Store app is still there from Windows 8, and if you went from Windows 7, I don't believe the Store app was there. The Store, you may think, oh, I don't want to buy any games, so I don't want to look at anything that's in the store. But I wanted to bring it up because there are applications out there that are featured specially for Windows 10. For instance, Yahoo Mail. If you use Yahoo Mail, there's a special Windows 10 application to use that's even more secure than using just the regular, like Outlook Mail or the mail on the laptop. So you want to go to the store and download the Yahoo Mail application and take a look at some of the other things that are available in there. So as I said, that there's a special one for Yahoo Mail, along with all the games and being able to display video and everything else in that store. Now, a new feature is the Edge browser. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Edge browser. It has a real nice clean interface. But it means that those of us that have been around and used to using a favorites bar don't see it. If that's okay with you and you just want to type in a web address and go on and start doing stuff, then this Edge browser might work just fine for you. We'll talk more about it later. On your bottom right of your screen, you will see what looks like a little piece of paper with lines on it. That's your Action Center. All the notifications come up in there. So click on that lines. You will also have a lot of annoying notifications, and we're going to talk about how to turn those off a little bit later. For instance, the program I use to get the screenshots is called GreenShot, and every time I took a screenshot, it would pop up one of these windows. So I went and turned that notification off. And every time you receive a mail, by default, it's going to pop up a little window on that bottom right of your screen. Now, if you see something that you want to find out more about, you click on it, and it will bring up a panel, but it'll have the word here, expand and arrow. That means you can make it bigger and there's more there to be seen. This is just the top row. When you expand it, it looks like here on the right, and then it have the word collapse on it, so then you can make it back smaller. So for instance, in that center down here, you're going to see airplane mode, and you're going to see tablet mode. If you've got a tablet, you can go to all your settings. You can bring up, turn on and turn off Bluetooth and the wireless. So that's all combined in this area on the bottom right. Now the notification center in tablet mode will dynamically switch if you have a tablet type of computer. I have a little HP Revolve, and in notebook mode it does fine, and then you can turn the screen around and lay it flat. It becomes a tablet. It automatically detects when that becomes a tablet and then puts it in tablet mode. And what that does for you, it brings up those big tiles for you to operate from, so your finger can work on it rather than a smaller mouse or clicker. But there are other features about tablet mode that you might want to investigate if you're going to have a tablet or a touch screen computer anytime soon. If you get a bunch of things in that action center and you want to get rid of them, just hit clear all and it'll get rid of all of them, or you can hit the X key and get rid of some of those one by one. So let's go back to when we hit the Windows button down there. We had one of the choices was the Start menu, the File Explorer. And this looks very much like your regular File Explorer, except that note that you've got frequent folders, because it looks at and keeps track of which folders you go to most frequently. And some of us that have been around long enough, that's directories. The term now is folders. The recent files down here at the bottom, anything that's been fairly frequently accessed in the last few days, you'll be able to get to there. You have a new panel here called Quick Access. This is something that I can control what's here. Notice the little pins. I can pin it to Quick Access and get to this directory easily. Now, I must have guessed pretty good at which directories I want to go into, because if you compare my frequent folders list to my Quick Access, you're going to see almost everything of the same kind. The regular File Explorer starts down here where it says Desktop and goes down, and you can access all your network drives and everything else you normally do. But what I wanted to talk about in the features was this new Quick Access, and the frequent folders and the recent files are all in this one menu. Now, if we right-click on an item in the Explorer to get that into the Quick Access, you will see this panel come up, and you say Pin Current Folder to Quick Access, or Current File to Quick Access, and then that will pin it. Or you can click on Options, and you're going to see a bigger panel come up. And it has 3 tabs. So note that there are 3 tabs there. It took me a while to realize that there was a View and a Search tab, more than just the General tab. And this is where, when you had File Explorer options in some of the other operating systems, that you would say, okay, when I click on a folder, I want to open the folder in a separate window or in the same window. Do I want to double click to get an item? So it's all those choices that we used to get that were buried down under the control panel. You get it on a right click now. If you go to the View tab, some of the controls are things like display the file icon. You can display the full path in the title bar. I'm a real fan of that because I bury my things in so many different nested directories. Sometimes I forget exactly where a subdirectory is, and so I turn that on, and so every time I click on a file, a folder, it actually puts the path in the title bar. Then there are other ones for those of us that are experienced and want to have access to our system directories. You can go in here and click that on. Instead of hiding those, it will allow you to get into those system directories so you can go find things. But there are a lot of options. There's no way I could have gone through everything. but go explore these options off of the File Explorer. I think you'll like the organization once you get familiar with where they're located. Any right click, as I mentioned earlier, is contextual and has many options. For instance, I showed a right click on a file on a folder from my home computer and from my work computer. And the only reason I can tell the difference is Google Drive's not allowed at my work, and WinMerge is something I use only at work. So this is my work and this is my home. So as you can see, there are different choices. I run Avera at home. They have a different antivirus at work. I have OneDrive mounted at home. I don't have here. So these menus will expand and contract as you add more programs. So there are other choices in here, or you can then take them off if you want to. If you need to uninstall a program, and I'm going to tell you in a few minutes why you'd want to uninstall a program, even though you may have used it before you got on Windows 10, you click on the Windows logo on the bottom left and then go to Settings, and then pick System, and it looks like that. And then pick Apps and Features. Now, Apps and Features is going to show you a list of all the applications that it has. And that's a pretty long list. You can scroll through it, or you can type an app name and it will find part of it down. It's kind of an incremental search. It will go further down in the list for you. I want you to go, when you finish this lecture or when you have time, go look at your apps, and I want you to go look at this date and time. Now, if you click on it, you'll get more details. A lot of times you'll see a modify button or an uninstall button. For instance, Adobe Acrobat has some modifications that you can make without completely uninstalling the program and reinstalling. Or here's how you hit that button and then it will begin to uninstall. But the reason I want you to go look is after you brought up Windows 10, if you find any application that says unavailable, then that particular application is not compatible with Windows 10. You need to uninstall it, go get a new version from the website of the program. In this case, it was Cisco WebEx, and WebEx has a tendency to download new stuff anyway, but you will find there are going to be some applications maybe that are, say, unavailable. So go look at your list, because otherwise you may get a surprise when you click on something and expect it to come up, and it's not going to come up. So Settings and System and Notifications will bring up, as we went into that System panel, the Notifications and Actions brings up this choices. And if you want it to show some tips about Windows, you can leave that on. It comes on by default. If you want to have app notifications turned on, you can. For instance, today for the presentation, I went in and turned that off so that there would be no pop-ups from mail or anything else by accident. And this is where you would go change all that. You can say hide notifications while presenting, but I didn't want to trust that that one button would work, so I turned all of them off. And then down below, there will be a list of all your applications. And if you have an iPhone, you'll be familiar with this kind of thing, because this is a choice that you get on every application. So notifications from Cisco, do I want to see that I've disconnected from the network and connected? This is our program that does the virtual private, the VPN network connection into my work. Do I want to see the banners and shots and sounds from GreenShots? I can turn it on, turn it off. So there's a complete choice of all the applications that would notify you from the notifications or pop up a notification somehow. And you can, if you get some that are annoying, go in here and turn them off. Now, settings, system, notification. Each application has a choice so that when you click on Skype there in that list, it actually has some choices. My Mail has these choices. Greenshot only had one. So each one of the applications has a different set of choices. And so don't expect it to always look exactly the same. For instance, on Skype, I can say, okay, even if my screen is locked, I want you to pop it up that somebody's trying to call me or somebody sent me a private message on Skype, because at work we communicate a lot between people on Skype. Here's an example of a notification window. This was an email that I had received. And so you can see that it's in the bottom right of my screen, right above all the little things that show up on the bottom right. Now, for instance, when we have Microsoft Edge, it's going to be the default app because Windows thinks it knows better than you. And so you can go in and change what is the default app. That Windows logo again on the bottom left, then System, then Default Apps. Now this is just a small number of default apps. This is the one that they want everybody to go to. I'm going to show you where you can find complete details about other ones. But it has a category, and it says, okay, for email, I will always bring up Outlook. For maps, I'm going to bring up the Microsoft Maps. For photos, I'm going to use their photo stuff, the video. And for the web browser, I have chosen Internet Explorer. If it had been Microsoft Edge, you just click on Edge and it'll give you these other choices, and then you can pick one of the other browsers. If you're like me, you have more than one browser because some things work better in Chrome and some things work better in Firefox, some things work better in Internet Explorer. Unfortunately, our vendors with some of our software application at work haven't caught up with Microsoft Windows yet, and so I have to use Internet Explorer. I can't use Microsoft Edge. So you may find the same thing. Now, if you find a file association, so if you click on a file that's .pdf and you don't like the program that comes up because in their infinite wisdom, Windows decided that PDF files, which are normally shown in Adobe Acrobat Reader, are brought up in the Windows Edge browser. And you can't do as much with those PDF files as you can under other applications. So you will go to the right click on the Windows logo and then choose Control Panel. So when you right click on the Windows logo down there, not just click, you'll see a different set of choices. This is the more techie choices for those of you that want to get down into the details of like the old Control Panel. This will bring up the old Control Panel. So you have Control Panel programs, default programs, set associations, and then you can go in here and click on PDF and change the application that it's using. Now, when you get in that Windows system and you choose About, it's going to tell you about your computer, the name of your computer. This is my work computer, so it's got a kind of a gibberish name for you, but it means something to the network people at work. It tells all about the product. This is your Windows 10 license ID and how much RAM is installed, what kind of, is it a 64-bit or is it a 32-bit? And so it gives you more details about the system itself. And sometimes a vendor will ask you to go print this Windows About panel. Now, some things don't come up by default. And on the bottom left, I'm not sure, I think Task View's there, but if it's not, I wanted to show you how to do it. And some people may not like it and might want to turn it off. Task View on the taskbar is on the bottom left, and it looks kind of like multiple windows. And when you click on it, now I tend to have a lot of windows, and at work I have 2 monitors. So I usually have a lot of windows up. And so when I go into the Task View, it will bring up a smaller version on the window showing you all the panels that are open, and then you can click on the one that you want to go to. So if I want to go to my SQL Developer, I'd click here. And I was working on a spreadsheet of my time that I had. So you have all the choices. So if you want to find something, you don't have to minimize and rearrange and do all that other stuff, just hit that little taskbar down there. Now, if it's in there, you may have to right-click and turn it on. You may have to, but you've also got some choices. When you do the task view, you can cascade the windows. You can show the task manager there. So the task view, not only does it show all your windows, but if you want a shortcut way to find task manager, rather than hitting Control-Alt-Delete, you right-click on that task icon and then choose task manager. You can lock all your taskbars. You can hit properties and get some other details. When you right-click on the taskbar down at the bottom, there are three choices: taskbar, navigation, and toolbars. And I wanted to highlight a few things. The taskbar, using small task buttons, takes up less real estate. You want to show the taskbar on all displays. If you have more than one display, you might want to choose that you want to show it on all taskbars. All displays. The navigation and toolbars has some other choices. And in particular, I wanted to bring up, here's some other toolbars that you may find that are missing. On the bottom right of your screen, you can have a section. See these little vertical bars? This makes a separate section called links. And what that does for you is it brings in your favorites from your web browser. And that's kind of a shortcut way. I can go down to my bottom right, click on it, and it brings up the first part of my favorites bar. If I want my desktop, now today I've got my desktop hidden so you couldn't see all the icons. If I wanted those, I could click on that. Excuse me for just a second. Okay, so that were some of the features that I wanted you to know about. I highly recommend that when they do post this, that you go back through. If you're new to Windows 10 or you've seen some feature that you can't figure out how to get back to, go back and play the video and have the handout next to you so that you can try it on your computer and try all these options, because it takes a while to explore all those different options. So now we're going to go over some Windows 10 annoyances, and this is just a few, but these are the ones that happen to hit me really bad. The first there's a feature called snapping. And if I had a window here in my middle of my screen, if you slide it up to the upper right-hand corner of your computer, it immediately becomes full size. Well, as you can see, I usually have a lot of different windows on my computer, and every time I'd bring up a new one, I'd accidentally get it close enough that it would just grab it and make it full screen. So I wanted to turn that off, and I'll show you that in a minute. The desktop does not have a computer icon, and I wanted to be able to get to some external files, the external drives, easier. And the trash bin wasn't there. And so we're going to show you how to turn those on. And it was hard to scroll through all of the apps. And so I'm going to show you some shortcuts on how to get further into the apps quicker. Then I'm going to show you how to turn off a default browser, being Edge. And then I'm going to show you how to make the document that is a PDF document, the default application, you want to change it from Edge. And I'm going to show you how to turn off Cortana. Now, Cortana is the voice activated. Now, that's fine if I was home, and maybe I wouldn't be disturbing my husband if I talked to my computer. But at work, I'm in an open cubicle situation. And if every one of us were talking to our computer, it would get noisier than it already is. So I've got Cortana turned off, and if you don't want to use it, and there's some other reasons, for privacy reasons, I'll show you that also. And hopefully we're going to get through all of these slides. If not, then they will go up on the web with the rest of the details. So if we go to, click on that Windows button again, hit Settings and System. If you go to multitasking, and this is not obvious, why would Snap be under multitasking? But once I found it, then you can adjust how Snap works. If you want it totally off, just click it in the off position. If you want to, for instance, when I snap a window, automatically size it to fill the entire available space, turn that on. When I resize it, simultaneously resize everything else so that it makes like 2 half screens. So play with this snapping and make it work for you, whatever works for you. Now, under Settings, that same Settings, there is Personalization, and it wasn't obvious to me that personalization meant themes and other things, so that is where the computer icon and the recycle bin is going to get set. I would have never thought about it being under Themes. So Settings, Themes, and then go to Theme Settings. Then you can change desktop icons and then click on Computer and Recycle Bins. And if you wanted the control panel there, or the network, or your user files, this is where you turn on those desktop icons that have gone away. Now, if you have that real long list of applications, one shortcut you can do is click on one of the letters, and it will bring up all 26 letters, and then you can click on the start of a letter where you want to search. So if you at least remember the starting letter of an application, that's a shortcut. But even better, down, if you start typing, you bring up this part of the screen, you hit all apps and you get this, start typing on your keyboard, and it's an incremental search. So if, in this case, I just used the example of typing G, and it brought up everything that it had on G's. And that would be all the apps. But notice it also brought up something else. It's bringing up my more frequently used web pages. It's bringing up folders that all started with G. So this is part of Cortana. It is keeping track of and using other information about your system on what you've used on the web, what you have accessed most in your folders. And so it is also bringing that up in this search box. I took this off of a laptopmag.com, how to make Chrome your default browser. We end up going to Settings, select System, check that default apps in the left pane, go down, and I had mentioned it earlier, you go down to where the web browser is and then pick something else as your web browser. I just wanted to make sure that all the commands were spelled out even better here. Your .pdf files, which are prints that are machine independent, and a lot of people distribute things in machine independent way. So they decided that, Microsoft decided that it was the Edge browser that was going to read PDF files. So if you go to the Start menu, Settings, System, Default Apps, and then scroll down and choose Default Apps by file type, and find the .pdf on the left side, then you can choose another app like Adobe Acrobat Reader, or if you already have some other .pdf file manipulation software, you can pick that other application. Now, turning off Cortana, it sounds like it would be neat to have all the speaking where you can speak to it and it will speak back to you. But Cortana also means that it is indexing your private information at all times. So some people are very privacy oriented and do not want the operating system doing that. So you are going to want to go turn Cortana off. If you want to turn it back on and use it briefly, that's fine. But the more you let it go, it's going to index everything you're doing on that system. Cortana's icon is on your taskbar, and if you select the little taskbar here, it looks like a piece of notebook paper. The lines, this notebook icon on the left-hand side, and then click Settings. The little gear at the top of the screen, it says Cortana can give you suggestions and ideas, and you can turn it to off. But there are a lot of other choices down there, so go explore those if you want to turn it off or you want to change some of the choices. Now, when you installed Microsoft 10, if you haven't done it already, you had a choice of whether to use a local account or use your Microsoft account. There are pros and cons to using both. If you use your Microsoft account, when I bring up another computer, it will already have all of my settings, all of these choices that I have made. It will move it to another Windows 10. So for instance, on my Apple laptop, I have Parallels, and I run Windows 10 there also. And so I have the exact same settings because I've logged in with my Microsoft account. However, you can make it local. And so they kind of urge you to use your Microsoft account, but in case you want to do it local, you can. But you can override those default settings and choose custom option. However, I wanted to warn you about several things because I did this once. First off, I recommend that you always have 2 user accounts that you can log into your computer from, just in case one account gets messed up. Occasionally, I've had one account get messed up, and I still was able to log in on the other account name. And but that kind of bit me when I did this. So be sure if you want to go from using a Windows user ID to log in and local, you close everything you have open because you're going to need to restart your system. You click Next, and then you click Sign Out and Finish. So it signs you off of the web page, your Microsoft account. And so when you're signed off, when your system restarts, you select the account you just created and enter a password for you to set it. And then it will be just like you had before, but local. However, I forgot and logged into my second account. And so it was confusing to me, and I almost thought I had lost all of my applications. So just be sure you choose the same account that you were using before when you go to the local mode. It will impact certain things like OneDrive and the syncing of applications. So if you like the syncing of the applications and the use of OneDrive so it syncs between several different systems, don't go to a local account. Stay with your Microsoft ID that you use to log in. But there is a choice. Now, when you bring up Edge, there are no favorites at the top, and I like seeing my favorites. So how do I get them back? And still use Edge if you want to. You click on that looks kind of like a piece of paper, and then you can import your favorites. Go to your favorite settings, and then it will also give you a second choice to import favorites, but then it will give you the choice of turning on the favorites bar. And do I want to import my favorites? What do I import it from? If you already have another web browser such as Chrome installed before you go in and do this, it can pick up the favorites from Chrome and bring them into here. So then you can turn that favorites bar back on so that you can see icons when you're looking at a web browser. Now at Bugamug, we put some videos up on Windows 10 because we felt like our members might want to see them more, and they came from GCF Learn Free, and they're just links to their videos. They're free, and they have what's new in Windows 10, what Windows 10 features, getting started with Windows 10, how to personalize your desktop. So if you want to go to bugamug.org/win10, then that link will take you and show you the links to GCF Learn Free, or you can do a Google search on GCF Learn Free. So now I'm going to stop and see if there are questions. Now, if they get too complicated, we may have to take the questions, let me look them, research them, and come back and answer them from there.
Okay. So I'm waiting. This is David. I'm waiting for questions to get asked. I'm going to ask one question, and you can explain what the difference is. It appears you were using a different version of Windows 10 other than the Anniversary Edition. What were you using?
I'm not sure I know the difference. I'm using whatever was upgraded this last time.
Okay, so this is, you got it from work?
Yes, I got it from work. So
Okay.
it may be, you may be right. It may have a slight difference because it is the one that they install to all computers, but yes.
Yeah, I think you're using the Enterprise Edition.
Enterprise, so.
A little different, okay. So, but you don't know how that's different from the Regulus 10?
No, I really don't.
Okay. Other than that, I'm still waiting for questions, folks. Don't be shy. You don't raise your hands for questions. You got to type your questions into the chat box. Someone wants to know, is it possible to change the color of the tiles?
Whoa, I don't know.
That's from RG.
Okay.
So we'll make a note to
go research that and find out.
Research that and get back. I know you can change the sizes.
Yes, and you can change the background colors and the background pictures and that sort of stuff, but I'm not sure about the tiles. I bet it's set by the application.
Okay. Yeah, someone just typed in Enterprise is the same as Pro, but got some more security features.
Okay.
There's a little bit more difference because instead of saying My PC, it says Desktop. Okay, and they want to know how to download the video and get the handouts. They will be up on the APCUG website shortly. And the video will be up as soon as we can get it up. It takes a little bit longer to upload the videos than it does the PowerPoint and the handouts, but we'll get them up as soon as possible. And since you signed up to get the conference, you will get an email that they are up. And they want to know, step away for a minute, was privacy settings discussed? I'll let you answer that question.
I discussed some privacy settings off of Cortana. I didn't go in depth because, gosh, you can get really, really detailed on all those privacy settings. Google's your friend, and if we want some more details on privacy settings, maybe we'll do the next technical conference. Okay. We'll do a special presentation on privacy.
Okay, Paul, I believe if you go to the APCUG videos on YouTube and do a search, I believe that someone did do a presentation on security. I don't know if that was Bill James or somebody else, but I believe that there is some sort of a privacy on Windows 10 settings done. I believe that someone did it.
The most invasive is Cortana. So if it's, having it index everything you're doing, and if you have a laptop that's not real powerful, you may find that it's eating up some CPU cycles at first after installing Windows 10 because it is indexing everything in the sun.
Yeah. Okay, someone wants to know if is there a setting for turning off and on the Cortana microphone? We're getting some good questions.
Very good questions. Let me turn Cortana back.
While you're thinking about that, we'll ask the text size.
So I don't know for sure, but you need to go through the setup of turning Cortana on, and so if you click on the little what looks like a search thing, and then go to settings and work on that, or right click on.
Because I believe that when you turn off the mic, and you can still use it for settings. So.
Yeah. Probably.
Okay. Well, we know about that. So, any other questions? Oh, someone says that you can close and hide Cortana, but the anniversary update no longer allows you to disable.
Turn it off. Well, I don't know. Maybe they have done something different in the enterprise version, or our work people they have some kind of settings that they can override it, because they really don't want us running Cortana, not just for the noise reason, but because of it, might be listening to trade secrets on how to do fabric or something. I don't know, but,
yeah, I understand. As I said, I haven't had much problem with it turning on and recording.
Right.
Because you could just disable your microphone.
Exactly.
You can just mute your microphone, and as long as the microphone's muted, it's not gonna pick anything up, and that's simple to do.
And it's just like, in fact, I saw a security lecture yesterday at our IT summit that we have. We have an all-day meeting IT summit, and this guy is one of the ethical hackers that knows a lot. He said, definitely take a piece of tape and cover over your Windows video, what do I want to say? the camera at the top of a laptop. Yes. And so that, in case somebody does manage to hack your computer, they can't see you type passwords. So.
Yeah, well, as I said, that would be very difficult for anybody to see passwords the way I type, but.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, what they said is to use a Band-Aid.
A Band-Aid, okay.
Yes, so that the tape could damage the lens.
Sure.
So if you want to pull it off, you pull it off and you're not hurting the lens.
That's
very good tip, Paul.
Very good.
Very good tip. I haven't heard that before, but I think that's an excellent idea.
In fact, I'll take it back to our club.
I can mention that.